This is the second of two video tutorials on the use of paged sound windows in Raven Pro 1.5. Paged windows enable you to work with sound recordings of any length without any limitations imposed by the amount of memory available on your computer. In the previous video, we introduced the basic features of the paged sound window interface for single files. This video assumes that you're already familiar with those basic controls. So if you haven't watched the previous video yet, we recommend that you do so before watching this one. In this video, we'll demonstrate the use of paged windows with sequences of sound files that may span any period of time from minutes to years. For this demonstration, I'm going to use this sequence of files recorded by an autonomous recorder deployed for several days in May in the Northeast United States. The recorder was programmed to record continuously and saved the audio data into a continuous sequence of WAV files, each 1 hour long. The names of the sound files encode the date and time at the start of the file. This folder contains 24 1-hour files. The first file begins at midnight local time. I can try to open the entire 24 hours of sound as a single recording in Raven by highlighting all 24 files and dragging them onto the Raven desktop. Whenever you try to open multiple files at once, Raven asks whether you want to open the files as a sound sequence in one window or individually in separate windows. When you open multiple files as a sound file sequence, Raven treats the files as one continuous recording. Since the 24 files that I'm opening here are contiguous in time, one begins as the previous one ends, I do want to open them as a file sequence. As we saw in the previous video, the Configure New Sound window dialog always gives you the choice of whether to open a sound in its entirety or in a paged window, whether it's a single file or a sequence. If I accept the default choice and try to open the entire sound, Raven displays a message indicating that the file sequence is too long to open in its entirety. The solution, as we saw in the earlier video, is to use a paged sound window. I'll go ahead and use the default page size of 60 seconds. We can change this later if we decide some other page size is more useful. I'm going to hide the waveform and wrap the 60-second spectrogram over 3 lines so that each line displays 20 seconds. I'm going to zoom the vertical axis of the spectrogram to around 8 kHz, which should cover the range of most bird sounds in the recording. And I'll choose the jet black color map for the spectrogram and adjust the spectrogram brightness and contrast. At the top of the window, we see the page navigation panel, which should be familiar from the previous video introducing paged sound windows. Since we've opened a sequence of 24 contiguous 1-hour files, the length of the paging scroll bar represents the entire 24-hour day. Initially, the page is positioned at the start of the file sequence, which, remember, begins at midnight. No sounds are visible in the spectrogram because everything was very quiet at that hour. We can quickly jump to another time of day by dragging the scroll bar. Remember that the page start time, shown here, displays the hours, minutes, and seconds from the start of the sound. Since the sound starts at midnight, this is equivalent to the time of day. So now we're looking at early afternoon, just after 1 p.m. Let's listen to find out what this sound is. It's a field sparrow singing. Let's look now at a time when we'd expect more birdsong activity. At this location on May 8th, sunrise was at 6:06 local time. If we look around 10 minutes before sunrise, we see the peak of the dawn chorus, when many bird species are singing at once. Now that we're viewing a sequence of sound files rather than just one, notice that the page navigation panel has an additional control that we didn't see when we were opening a single file. A drop-down list of all of the files that we opened. Raven has automatically arranged the files in the correct order based on the alphanumeric sorting order of their names. In this case, the date and timestamps encoded in the names of the sound files ensure that Raven arranges them in the correct order. Choosing a file from the list immediately repositions the paged window at the start of that file. Let's choose this file that starts at around 1700 or 5 p.m. The overall soundscape at this time of day is much quieter than it was around dawn. There's just a single bird singing. Let's listen to see what it is. It's an eastern phoebe. Right now, the paged view is positioned right at the start of the file that I selected from the menu, which starts a few seconds after 1700 or 5 p.m. If I click on the Step Back button at the left end of the paging scroll bar, the page start moves back a few seconds and a dashed vertical green line appears in the spectrogram. This line represents the boundary between two consecutive files in the sequence. When I have a file sequence open, the mouse measurement display at the bottom of the Raven window shows the name of the file containing the sound where the mouse pointer is located. So the time to the left of the green line is in one file. If I move the mouse pointer to the right of the green line, I see the name of the following file. In some situations, you may want to advance through many successive pages of a long recording. For example, if you're looking for a particular sound of interest. Although you can do this by just repeatedly clicking the Next Page button, doing this dozens or hundreds of times in succession is tedious. In these situations, you can use Raven's timed automatic page advance to save yourself a lot of repetitive clicking. For example, suppose I want to search through the dawn chorus to see when the first morning songs of this eastern phoebe occur. Since my goal is to review the recording as fast as possible, I'll first change the page size from the default 60 seconds to 90 seconds, so I can see 50% more time on each page. I also don't need much overlap between successive pages, so I'll increase the page increment to 98% of the page size. To make sure I'm viewing the entire 90-second page, I'll click on the Zoom to All X button to the right of the horizontal scroll bar. After taking a close look at what this Phoebe song looks like at this time scale, I can go back to the dawn chorus at around 5:30 in the morning. Now I can advance through successive pages looking for the Phoebe's spectrographic signature using timed AutoPage advance. The delay field lets you specify how long Raven will display each page of data for your inspection before loading the next page. I'm going to use a delay of 2 seconds. To start AutoPage advance, click here. Now, Raven loads a 90-second page, waits 2 seconds, and then loads the next page, and then keeps repeating. As successive pages load, I'm just scanning each page for the Phoebe's unique spectrographic signature. When I spot it, I'll stop the paging by clicking the Stop button here. Okay, that looks like the Phoebe. Let's play it to confirm. Yes, that's it. Choosing an appropriate page length and paging delay for timed auto advance may require some experimentation and depends on several factors, including the length and distinctiveness of the sound you're looking for and the complexity of the acoustic scene. The size of the screen on which you're viewing the spectrogram will also affect how much data you can have visible on a page and still be able to recognize the sounds you're looking for. A bigger screen will enable you to review data more efficiently. So if you normally work on a laptop computer, connecting a larger external monitor may be helpful. In any case, if you're looking for particular signals and you can recognize them visually, it's almost always possible to review data much faster visually than by listening to the recording. For example, with the setup I have here, 90 seconds of data per page, a 98% page increment, and a 2-second AutoPage delay, I can review around 45 minutes of recording in 1 minute. That wraps up our overview of paged sound windows in Raven. Thanks for watching.